I've worn this fursuit multiple times for the past 2 weeks. It's the best fursuit I've ever gotten, but you shouldn't commission them. This is Lumin the Lime Husky, my persona that took over a year to come up with. It's a representation of my identity and personal interest as an anthropomorphic animal. Nearly all personas are created by furries themselves. I looked at many different animal species and hybrids of them. I ended up choosing a husky that not only friendly and energetic, but also similar looking to wolves. They're the personality traits that I want my persona and eventually fursuit to have. Huskies also have a simple fur pattern, making it easy to draw for a reference sheet and later be made into a fursuit. Some furries have complicated personas with lots of colors, small markings, and complex patterns. However, it can be difficult to represent them in art and as a fursuit. Many fursuit makers love a challenge. However, they'll often charge more if they do accept it due to the extra work needed to accurately represent the persona. Even gradients will need to be airbrushed, which adds cost and maintenance. I chose a simple color palette with 4 colors: lime, white, green, and cyan. The coat would be lime on the outside and white on the inside. The hair poof, nose, and paws are green. The eyes are cyan, which is a common husky eye color. There's a lime semicircle marking on the middle of the body featuring a lime slice. It symbolizes Lumin being a lime husky along with the color palette. With an idea of my persona, in December 2022, I looked for an artist to draw my reference sheet. It's a visual representation of my persona, which serves as the blueprint for art and fursuits. The text description is much harder to work with and can result in miscommunication. A picture is worth 1,000 words, especially with personas, which can be complex as one's imagination. Initially, I looked into Neon Slushy, known for the high-quality reference sheets. However, they were closed at that time. Meanwhile, Polex is a furry artist known for their furry sticker packs, which I love. I was subscribed to their Patreon and they were open for art commissions, including reference sheets. I submitted my commission request in mid-December and drawing started in late December. Communication was great, and within a week I had a high-quality reference sheet of my persona. Despite this, the tail on the back post was covering the butt. This would be a problem when the fursuit was made, as it obscured the fur in the area. With my reference sheet, I started looking for a fursuit maker to bring them to life in late January. Fursuits are a form of costume play, or cosplay, an activity and performance art where fans dress up as characters. Media companies make characters for pop culture franchises that most fandoms cosplay. However, due to the unique nature of each persona, fursuit maker's style, and features, fursuits are one of a kind. I used the fursuit maker database getfursuit.it to search for fursuit makers. I have a budget of $2,500 saved up over a year. I narrowed down my search to American fursuit makers with a toonie style offering plantigrade full suits. As huskies were friendly, a toonie style would emphasize my persona's personality. However, I was unable to search by price, so I had to research them manually. I had dozens of fursuit makers on a spreadsheet with their prices, reviews, and commission opening times. They were narrowed down to a few that were in my budget and opening soon to get quotes from. Out of the quotes I got, also stood out. They're a New Jersey-based fursuit maker that has been making fursuits since 2017. They had plenty of examples, some being friends. I asked about their fursuits, with them satisfied with the quality and how it held up over time. In my quote, I requested a plantigrade full suit. For the head, I requested 3D eyes, a pickable nose, removable tongue, and removable eyelids. I requested an interior pocket on the bodysuit. For the hand paws, I requested 4 fingers, no claws, and to be fully lined. For the feet tops, I requested they have a sole bottom to be outdoors and indoors, no claws, and fursuit sandals. However, fursuit sandals would have been unnecessary as they for indoor feet paws with a fleece bottom that could get damaged with outdoor use. This mistake we noticed later on. One thing I didn't request was a tail. I initially didn't want as I already had a tail, but changed my mind later on. Sean went the extra mile responding to my quotes. They provided the fur and fleece they thought would match my persona's colors. I provided the fur and fleece that I thought would match it better. They acknowledged the specific green fur and fleece were too dark. After some discussion, I removed the pickable nose, eyelids, and fursuit sandals while keeping the extra tongue, head paw line, and bodysuit pocket. This gave me the confidence to work with them. I submitted the commission form as soon as it opened in February. Shell accepted a few days later, offering a payment plan, but I paid in full. They also requested a duct tape dummy as I was getting a full suit. This required putting duct tape all over a painter suit to serve as a representation of my body for the bodysuit. It would be extremely impractical and inconvenient to be on location. Along with this, measurements may not give the full story of the commissioner's body. I got duct tape, a painter suit, but needed somebody to apply the duct tape. It took a while to find a friend that would be willing to do it. In late March, I went to my friend's house and got to work with the duct tape dummy. I thought they had paper towels to cover the feet, but they didn't. I tried wrapping duct tape with the adhesive side on the outside, wrapped with more duct tape, which somewhat worked. It took almost an hour and a half, but the duct tape covered my entire body on the paper suit. My friend's family member helped cut me out of it and assist in taping it back up. Unfortunately, my shirt sleeve would be cut in the process. However, I anticipated this, as I wore clothing I never wore in case it happened. Luckily, the other cuts didn't damage my clothing. After getting out of the duct tape dummy, it would be taped up along the cuts to be shipped to Shell. Work started in late August, providing frequent updates. They gave input on the first use, the patterns, and adding a pocket on the head's neck to put a tracker in. However, there was a problem during the construction of the bodysuit. Since the tail covered the butt, Shell was unsure what the fur pattern should be. We discussed it and agreed there should be a patch of white fur below the tail wrapping around the bottom to the front. They were also able to accommodate a last-minute tail addition, which I was nervous about due to it being so late, but was able to work it out. In December, they finished the fursuit and delivered it. Unfortunately, after posting the completed fursuit to social media, they were harassed for accepting accepting commission. However, the accusations were made public on October 21st when they finished ahead. It would have been too late to cancel commission at that point. I was incredibly disappointed this was happening. However, I was also disappointed that Shell didn't ask me questions about the accusations before removing me from the Fursuit group. I apologize for my inappropriate actions while denying the more serious accusations. I had an email exchange with Shell after they shared support for the smear campaign. When pressed on the ban from the Fursuit cut, they refused to acknowledge my side with evidence, unprofessionally dismissing my concerns. They refused to uphold their 6-month repair warranty and shunned me in response. I feel they lied to my face for 2 months after the ban to use my platform to get a good review out of me. They say that they cannot let their business suffer because of the actions of someone else. They should have released a statement denying they knew about my accused negative behavior before accepting my commission. It's ironic this is their response, as it would cause significantly more negative brand damage. I've since distanced myself from Shell. I'm unfortunately unable to recommend them for future Fursuit commissions. I'm very disappointed in their handling of these false accusations. My Fursuit arrived on December 18th. Despite my dampened enthusiasm, I was still excited about the unboxing. The box included extras like trinkets, Fursuit spray, and stickers. I quickly suited up after, bringing my persona to life. It's truly a magical experience for me getting my Fursuit for the first time, and for those watching it happen. At the time of writing, I've worn it for the past 2 weeks, and it's held up across several videos and meetups. I usually bring the head, paws, and tail, and depending on the situation, feet, paws, and arm sleeves. It's all carried in a big laundry bag. While I can't fit my bodysuit in it, I'm unable to change at most places. Along with this, it gets hot, especially in crowded places. Like most Fursuits, my vision, hearing, and touch senses are limited. Despite my large toony eyes, my vision's limited to what's directly in front of me, with a blind spot in the middle. I also have difficulty using my hands as they're big 4-fingered toony paws. Despite these drawbacks, when putting on the Fursuit, I become my persona, who is more energetic, free-spirited, and outgoing. While it hasn't transformed my experience at these meetups, it has enhanced them. I get more attention in public spaces, especially with my change in personality. However, a Fursuit isn't required to be a furry. According to Fur Science in 2011, only 25% of furries had a partial Fursuit, with 5% not wanting it. Fursuits can make furries more confident and accepted, allowing interaction with new people. However, it can also be achieved by wearing furry clothing and accessories like ears, tails, and paws. Even being around other furries can help. Fursuits are the most visible luxury that dedicated furries wear, and they're fun to look at and experience. However, they're also expensive, require maintenance, and are physically demanding to wear. Despite this, I and many others believe these trade-offs are worth it to become our personas and their personalities in the real world. My decision choosing Shell Souls was more than due to cost. I wanted to support smaller fursuit makers. Fursuits from top makers are regularly auctioning for tens of thousands of dollars. Many are concerned that fursuits are becoming unaffordable for young furries. Despite this, smaller fursuit makers can make just as high quality fursuits for a fraction of the price. You're also supporting the next generation of fursuits. My fursuit is the embodiment of my persona and our personality. I hope it will continue to last for years to come. I'll continue to update my experience as I continue to wear Lumin, with my first FurCon coming in a few weeks. If you have a fursuit, who is your maker and what is your experience with them? If not, who do you want to commission in the future and why? If you want to know how a fursuit sold for $50,000, check out this video.